and welcome to Literary Hype. I am Stephanie, your Literary Hype Woman, and today we're checking another one off of the interview vision board. I got the chance to sit down with Hazelwood and her bestie Julie Soto to talk about some books. And this was a chaotic interview just because of all the things going on in the room. Like, there were people bursting through doors that almost knocked over the camera. One of the cameras was malfunctioning. There were a bunch of weird dudes who were standing behind the camera while we were filming and waving at us and being very unprofessional in the press lounge. You know who you are if you are watching this. Uncool, bro. Anyway, we still had a really good time talking about books. But Allie's latest release is Check and Mate. This is her YA debut. We also talked about Bride. I have never been so mad at my phone for the battery dying at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to read a digital advanced copy. I'm so mad because I did not want to stop reading this book. Anyways, let's get to the conversation with Allie and Julie. So we are at New York Comic Con and there is so much excitement going on. You guys are here doing pop culture and romance panel.
Look who remembered the title of the panel, unlike others.
Did you forget?
Honestly, it was supposed to be the Reylo panel because every single writer met kind of through the Reylo fandom, and then he ended up being the... I'm just saying, it was a not intuitive name. I'm just pointing it out.
What did you learn about moderating panels this weekend?
I feel like so I stand by my choice of asking the questions in a Jeopardy style thing. Maybe I should have prepared a little more, especially because we just went to the I want to say a romantasy panel.
Yeah, Rise of
Romantasy panel, and it was moderated by Rachel Housel, and she was so good. And I was like, but yeah, it's a learning curve.
Well, it was your first panel moderating, right?
It was.
Do you want to do this again, or was it once enough to traumatize you out of it?
Should I do it again?
Allie is good at moderating because she knows everyone and everyone likes her. So
I don't know about everyone likes me.
It's true.
But it's really, because I feel very comfortable with everyone on the panel. Everyone is cool. Yeah.
So that's what makes her a good moderator. I think the preparation could be a part of making you an even greater moderator.
What has Taylor Swift taught you about writing romance?
Honestly, though, everything. Like, she is such a good storyteller. Like, she will write these songs. I'm thinking about songs like Ivy or The Lakes. She will write an entire book of 70 million chapters, 80 million pages. She will write it in a 3-minute song. And she's just so good at using these, images. And you really kind of feel the feeling that she wants you to be feeling. And I mean, I cannot presume to say that I have learned from her, but I aspire to learn from her one day. Hi, Taylor. Notice me, senpai.
Hi, Taylor. I know you're watching these. But yeah, I would say imagery and metaphor and turn of phrase. She's so witty in so much of her lyricism.
She also, there's so much humor in some of her songs. I'm thinking about Hits Different, for example. She has these songs where she they're so self-deprecating, and she's obviously making fun of herself and her feelings. And in a way, sometimes that can be healthy. I just love everything about her.
We did see someone cosplaying as Taylor earlier, so that was pretty fun.
And we took a picture, and we stopped her, and we're like, if you don't take a picture with us, it's over.
Do you think she knows that she just had a New York Times bestseller ask for a picture with her?
Yeah. I don't think anyone cares.
And that's what's so great about you. You're so down to earth, and just you are you, and I love it.
Literally, no one don't care. Literally, not even my mother. No one's scared.
Oh goodness. Well, you have multiple books on the way. which is very exciting. But I just read Bride this week, so that's the one I want to talk about because Lord Almighty woman, I read that so fast. So for those who have not heard of Bride yet, kind of tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Does this look like a knot?
No.
No.
But that should be the international signal.
Right. I just wanted to be suggestive without being obvious. Bride is a book about marriage of convenience that happens between a werewolf and a vampire. It's kind of a paranormal urban fantasy book. It's set like in the modern times, but vampires and werewolves exist, and everyone knows they're just like genetically different from humans. But what can I say? Yeah, it's coming out in February.
It's very much so for the Twilight girlies who are now adults and want spice.
I would like, I mean, if anyone compared my book to Twilight, I would die of happiness.
I mean, I did. It's very Jacob quoted. Are you Team Jacob or Edward?
I actually was Team Edward. Like, I was never Team Jacob. I feel like I wasn't, I don't know if I was a little bit, I don't know if I was, I don't think I was too young for Twilight, but like, I was never huge in the fandom. Like, to me, it was always obvious that she was gonna end up with Edward, and I never really considered, right?
I was always Team Edward because I was like, well, I said this to someone the other day, I forget who, but I wasn't Team Jacob because I didn't like that he knew she had a boyfriend and he was still very persistent.
I mean,
and that's fine in fiction sometimes,
but not in real life.
It was not my cup of tea that he was so persistent when she was stating her preference.
It's because you want like healthy boundaries. We can be friends, but not tomorrow. Yeah,
healthy boundaries, everyone.
I love
between your vampires,
between vampires and werewolves.
Yeah,
I loved
Taylor.
Yeah, he was just an amazing actor, which is how I found Twilight through the movies. Really, like that was my first approach to it, and I don't know. I just have to say that I wasn't a Jacob girly. I was though a Presley Cole girly and a J.R. Ward girly and an Elysian girly, and so like it's really very much inspired to like all this paranormal romance that I grew up reading when I was like a teenager, and so they are kind of like very formative to me, and they are like in my brain.
And what's it like for you getting to read these spicy, fun books ahead of time and like getting to keep these kind of secrets?
You say ahead of time, but I had to get my copy from NetGalley.
I don't want my friends to read my crappy books. I feel guilty.
The world disagrees with you on that statement.
I feel guilty, honestly. Like, I kind of feel like I am forcing them. So I never like ask people, would you like to read my book? I just pretend that the book is not coming out, and then
poop, there it is.
I feel too much guilt. Like, what if they don't like it? They have wasted the time just because they love me. It's a whole thing. I have issues.
It's really great. I would say Love Theoretically was the first book of hers that I got to read post-release because I'd read
me feedback on Love on the Brain.
Yeah, So like I'd read Love on the Brain before you even sold Love Hypothesis.
I think yeah.
Or Right Wing.
You're right. Yeah.
And so it was the first time, and then of course the novellas I'd all read as fics. So it was really really great experience to like just feel like I'm reading my friend Allie's book. You know, it was precious. It was like I didn't even know the plot because she's rude and won't give me anything.
I mean, okay, but well, no, it's not true. You had told me about Forget Me Not, and but like I feel like there were things you left out.
Whenever we're talking about a new Allie Hazelwood book coming out, people always ask, how is she finding the time to do all this while teaching? Please explain how you have 4 books in like a year time frame coming out while still having a day job.
I do not have a day job. I have not for a while.
My friend is going to be so shocked.
Okay, but I have been very open about it. Like, I actually I didn't quit. So my husband, well, this is a lot of TMI that no one needs, but like about a year ago, I decided that I would take a break and see if it was feasible for me to actually write full time. And, I gave myself a year and then, the year ended and I am still not looking for a job. So I guess I am writing full time now. And, that's not, it looks like I am doing a lot, but I was really struggling doing both things. And so I was like, let's try to pursue this writer career thing. It also feels like I am writing very fast because a bunch of books that I have actually written, like Love on the Brain, and Love on the Brain was written even before the Love Hypothesis came out. Check and Mate was written as I was waiting for the Love Hypothesis to come out. So all these books that are coming out like back to back are books that I wrote a while ago. The novellas, it feels like I have a new release every day. But the truth is, the novella together are like, the length of a book, and they came out. It's because they came out 7 times, so it felt like I had a new book every month. But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, it appears that I am a very fast writer, but I don't write more than 2 books a year, which I think it's my full-time job. So I think it's not excessive. And this year I have only written a book. I am late on deadline. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah's my editor.
For those who've not heard about Check and Mate, what is this about, and why is it your favorite baby? Is what you told me in St. Louis.
It is my favorite baby. I just I don't know. I think it's a book that I really, really wanted to write and that I've been thinking about for so long, and that I don't know, the characters really came out the way I wanted them to come out. I had a vision and it kind of translated into what ended up on page, which is not always the case. Sometimes you write a book that doesn't end up being the book that you wanted. It's still maybe a good book. It's still something you're going to put out there, but it's not what your original vision was. But with Check and Mate, it just kind of worked. And then, as Julie said when she read it, it really is my most Reylo book because it's about these like 2 very talented people who are kind of opposite in a way, but then they end up together and in love. And so
it is the Reyloist.
It was also heavily inspired, I have to say, by a book that is coming out next year. Do you remember the Not Another Love Song, which is Julie's next book? Actually has a very similar premise, which is in your case, it's like 2 incredibly talented musicians who end up kind of having this rivalry. And it's this idea of, 2 people who have amazing talent and just unique abilities and end up sort of in a...
They're like the only 2 people who like understand
each other. Yeah. And everyone wants them to be like adversaries because of that. But the truth is that they kind of want to be together in truth. So it's that trope that we like. Yeah.
Why is it that you guys love Reylo so much?
Why wouldn't we? Shep answered it really well.
Yeah.
My friend Katie Shepard answered this question.
Because he's obsessed with her. We just like always were obsessed.
There's something very
with
female...
Only one. It has to be one boy obsessed with one girl and the girl has to obsess back at some point.
It's called a love story. Reylo is very female gazy, and not just because they made Adam Driver shirtless in the second film, but because it is a man who underestimates you, who sees your power, and then says, "Can I see more of it, please?" And and I think that's absolutely female fantasy. The idea of the fact that we have to prove ourselves so often, but proving yourself, and then the man accepts it. Your love interest accepts it and wants more of it, wants more of you.
And like people understand Reylo in very different ways. Like some people don't see that in Reylo, and that is totally fine. But like I think for us that we like it, what we see is these two people. Like we see him as yes, he tries to kill her.
Who hasn't? Yeah.
But he also admires her so much. And I guess I understand when people don't like him, but I'm just that person who loves it.
Yeah.
And since this is literary hype, what books are you hyped about?
Oh my God.
Because you blurb all the books.
I don't actually. I feel like I'm so slow, but I think the last blurb that I sent out, and I'm actually excited to talk about this book, was for Sex, Lies, and Sensibilities by Nikki Payne. She is, she's just one of my favorite writers. It's a modern retelling of my least favorite Jane Austen.
You like Mansfield Park?
No, no. Of one of my least favorite Jane Austen.
Like Northanger Abbey above Sons and Sensibility.
I mean, Northanger Abbey.
It's her fourth favorite Jane Austen, is what she's saying.
I am putting Sanditon before the unwritten one.
The unfinished, unpublished book is higher than Sons and Sensibility.
Season 1 of the adaptation.
Yes, the Theo James version of Sanditon.
I mean, Theo James anything.
Does have more rights than
actually, I am very mad at Theo James because the reason now there's like Sanditon season 17 and there is another love interest because Theo had to leave to do other things. And I'm like, Theo, you are ruining my life. So Theo James is nothing. We don't like you, Theo.
You're dead to me.
Except we like you. But
Sex, Lies, and Sensibility.
Amazing book. It's Nikki Payne as this fantastic talent for retellings that they really capture what the original book was about and what the original characters were about. But then she just, oh my God, she's so good at kind of like subverting what you think characters are going to be like. She's very good at like integrating the plot in modern settings. So Nikki is an anthropologist, and you can tell when you're reading because she creates words and she takes all these like very real life issues and she just like puts them in the book. So I would never stop talking about Nikki. She's just the best. She's amazing. What else? Another book is A Tempest of Tea.
I just got an arc of that.
Oh my God, it's so good. So the prose is so crisp, and it's one of those books when you're like, whoa, every sentence is kind of a work of art. It's a book about vampires, but the way vampires are understood in this kind of world that is built is very unique, I think. And there are 3 point of views in the book, but there is one in particular, Artie. She is one of the best main characters I've ever read. She's so kick-ass. She's a little bit morally gray. She's amazing. Sorry, I will stop talking about books now.
Do you have a new one, Julie? Since we just did this not long ago.
I love Sex, Lies, and Sensibility. But I just finished Take the Lead by Alexis Daria, which I just found out was her debut. Like, I actually didn't know.
It was really.
I thought You Had Me at Ola was her debut. So that was great. It's Dancing with the Stars inspired rom-com. And he's so tall and so burly. He's a mountain man. He's not a mountain man. He's like an Alaska survivalist. So it's yeah. I'm just saying. And yeah, I was just telling Allie about Dominic Lim's All the Right Notes, his debut. It's a queer Filipino love story. And the audiobook features a Broadway actor who actually sings some of the original music. So it's worth it to get the audiobook. But the thing is, if you're someone who listens to audiobooks at like 1.5 times speed, eventually the music will kick in and be like, and then I sing out loud.
That is an experience we want.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I have to like go back 15 seconds and bring the speed back down.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking time to talk with Literary Hype.
You stab.
thanks again to Allie and Julie for hanging out and talking about books and putting up with all of the chaos that was going around at New York Comic Con. It was an adventure of a weekend for sure, and we had such a good time. So thanks to them. If you want to get Allie's book Check and Mate, or Julie's book Forget Me Not, or Allie's other upcoming book that you can pre-order, Bride, I highly recommend you do so. Those links are all down in the description below, as well as where to find Julie and Allie on social media. And while you're on that side of the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, hang out with Literary Hype fam a little bit more because we have a good time around here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.